Welcome to Stargazer Ranch. My name is Cindy Fronk. My husband and I started this ranch 25 years ago, and we're still in business. We raise alpacas and we sell them to people across the country, and we have had the best time doing it. I knew I was going to have a ranch someday, and this was a name that I had selected when I was a teenager. And I thought at the time I was going to have horses, but alpacas were more interesting and more profitable than horses. We started out with our first purchase in the first year, and we had 11. And we decided that this was going to be more than a part-time hobby, that we wanted it to be a full-time business. And our herd grew to be about 180 alpacas when we were showing nationally and traveling across the country. We are down to about 50 alpacas now, and it's time that we don't need another full-time job. The alpacas, males and females, are approximately the same size. Just like with people, they are 36, 38 inches at the back. They weigh between 125 pounds to 190 pounds. Males sometimes are smaller, they're sometimes bigger. It's just like people. Alpacas do have unusual feet, very camel-like. They have 2 toes. They're not made for climbing. On the bottom of their foot is a soft pad. And so they're very environmentally friendly, and they will be able to walk on a variety of surfaces without disturbing or destroying the environment. I don't think the pad gives them extra traction. It allows them to walk on rocky surfaces and grass surfaces equally. 90% of what an alpaca needs is good quality grass hay. We supplement with a vitamin mineral supplement for our working animals. And by working animals, I mean those animals that are either growing or gestating a baby, or they're in the process of their own growth spurt. As far as personalities go, it's just like having 45 kids in a class. They all have different personalities. Some are friendly, some are shy, some are inquisitive, some are very standoffish. And it's not in their best interest to make every stranger their best friend. They're not dogs, they're not horses, they are alpacas. Well, our ranch name goes into all of their pedigreed or registered names, so they become Stargazers something. I try to name the offspring with the same first letter as the mama so that I can keep bloodline straight. For example, if we have Yvette being the mother, I then would have Yolanda being the daughter. So it helps me, especially since we've had over 400 crias born here at the ranch, it kind of helps me keep bloodlines in order. These animals are very easy to train, much easier than my dogs. You would want them to lead like a dog on a leash. We call it a lead rope. They wear halters that will direct them and to keep them safe. And I will have to work with them a handful of times before they go into the show ring or before they properly lead around the ranch. You want them to be calm and quiet around people, and she's a perfect example of that. All of my alpacas are at least halter trained so that they will move about and go to places where I request them to go. There's several different kinds of shows that you can go to. The halter show looks at the conformation of the animal, the fleece characteristics of the animal, but on the animal. Whereas the fleece show, which will be a shorn fleece that gets evaluated and compared to other fleeces. But there are other shows that really engage people, such as costume classes, such as performance through obstacles, things like that. You know, it's a growing field to engage the entire family. They make various noises. Most people say it sounds like they're humming. I think it sounds like they're whining. But there are also other noises they make. When the boys are fighting, they're screaming at each other, literally screaming. And when they see something that they're frightened about, whether it be a wild animal, whether it be a strange dog, whether it be a plastic bag blowing in the wind, they have something which is called an alarm call. And it sounds kind of like a crazy woman laughing. And we all poke our heads up and pay attention to what are they seeing. Sometimes it's nothing, but sometimes, as I said, is it a coyote? Is it a stray dog? You know, that we have to protect them from.
Izu. What was that?
An alpaca day is pretty cushy. We try to send everybody out to pasture, even though the grass is not as lush and rich as it is early in the year. We feed them hay year around, so they're used to coming in for their hay and their supplement. You can tune into our YouTube channel and watch them in the middle of the night and see what they're doing. They're kind of like people in what they like and they don't like. They do not like strangers coming up and putting hands on their face. Unlike dogs or some other companion animals who really like that, alpacas don't. They don't know you, they don't trust you, they don't want you touching their face. They also do not like loud noises. They do not like rapid, frantic movements. And so when we have visitors here to the ranch, we try to talk with the children saying, I know you're excited, but the quieter, the slower, the calmer you are, the more the alpaca is going to trust you. And, you know, that has worked out very well. We follow very closely the teachings of Dr. Temple Grandin, and she really feels that these animals view the world like an autistic person views the world, that loud noises and rapid movements scare them. And so we try to keep that to a minimum.
Hello, my name is Tjeerdsma. I'm the owner of Second Run Ranch. It's a new business, and I'm here at Stargazer Ranch learning from Cindy and her 25 years of experience. Alpaca fiber has many of the same qualities as sheep fiber. There are some differences. Sheep fiber has lanolin in it that is removed before it's turned into a yarn or a product. Alpaca does not have that. Alpaca wool is softer, it's smoother, and it's also hollow, which makes it actually warmer than wool fiber. So it's got all the same properties of being warm while wet, having good moisture wicking properties, and it's very soft to the touch.
I wanted to share with you why we do this. It's for their fiber, for their fleece. And this is one prime alpaca shearing from one animal. And it has about a 4-inch staple length. The inside is very, very clean. The evaluation of this animal using the expected progeny differences, using the EPDs, it talks about all the fiber traits, you know, how fine it is, how uniform it is, how long it is. He is in the top 1% for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different traits in the country. So he is incredibly good, but he's a butthead. This is approximately 8 pounds of fleece off of this animal. And depending upon who buys it, I can sell it wholesale for $15 a pound, or I can sell it to hand spinners and weavers for $40 or $50 a pound. So we focus on the high quality fiber.
Here at Stargazer Ranch, the primary focus is on quality genetics through scientific data. So every May when the alpacas are sheared, a sample of that fiber is sent off to New Zealand actually and gets evaluated. All that number, all the data of the qualities of the fiber, its fineness, its length, its color, all that information and more is sent back to us then. That information also goes up to CSU where they crunch all the numbers and provide us with expected progeny differences, or EPDs. So those expected progeny differences is the information we use to make our breeding decisions and make the next generation of alpaca here at Stargazer Ranch better than their parents and improve their fiber qualities. Male and female both can have very high quality. Over the course of their life, male's fiber stays at that higher level longer because they're not putting energy into developing, babies and things like that. So the male's fiber does stay at a higher quality longer than the females do. But then, like all of us in middle age or upper middle age, the fiber quality can start to deteriorate just ever so little.
They are considered herd animals. You would never want to have just one animal by itself. Even though it might have a goat as a companion or a pony as a companion, you want them to have other alpacas. They travel in a herd. They take cues of what their behavior should be in a herd. The alpha or the superior animals are the guards that are watching to make sure that there are no wild animals or stray dogs that are in the area, and they will alarm to notify the mamas and babies to stand back and to stay away from the threat. Early on, my husband and I discussed having guardian animals or guardian livestock guard dogs. We decided against that. We have good fences, we have dusk to dawn lights. We do not have a guardian animal. Frequently, people will use the bigger, tougher, stronger llama as a guardian, but that means that the llama is going to be the sacrificial animal, that the alpacas will retreat and the llama will go confront the threat, whether it be a mountain lion or it might be a neighborhood dog, and that they become the sacrificial animal, and it in essence protects the alpacas. We chose not to have livestock guard dogs or llamas, but a lot of people use those. I think that the public really needs to be aware that the #1 threat for alpacas are neighborhood dogs. Most people think that it is coyotes or wolves or mountain lions, but each week I read about neighborhood dogs attacking alpacas, and it's very sad because the neighbors don't think that their dog would, but the dogs do it as sport or a game. And I can share with you terribly sad stories of alpacas being killed by neighborhood dogs. They defend themselves by running away. They really, 150-pound animal. I have gone out in the field and I have seen toads that are dead that have been stomped on, but that's about all they can do. They're very fast. They're very fast. But if you look at our farm, you can see they're restricted in smaller pens and paddocks. Out in our pasture, they have room to run away from a threat. But if a dangerous dog got into the paddocks with them, they have no place to go. You know, so that's my job as a caretaker, to make sure that, you know, they're kept safe. Alpacas have been around for thousands of years. They're one of the oldest domesticated livestock, 7,000 or 8,000 years in South America. And it's in the mountains of Peru, Bolivia, Chile, somewhat into Argentina. And these animals have been generally owned and raised by royalty, and the royalty were the men, but they were cared for primarily by the women. If mama got to decide who they were going to eat for lunch tomorrow, because in South America they are considered a source of food, that mama got to decide that it was the nasty, ornery one that ran over her children to eat. So we have had thousands of years of selective breeding for calm and relaxed animals, which we have today, we see today. We know because of mummified remains that have been taken out of tombs and analyzed in the last 20 or 30 years that the quality of alpacas from thousands of years ago was actually better than they are today. And one of the big primary reasons is the Spanish conquistadors went to South America and they saw the alpacas as being somewhat of a nuisance. They wanted to raise the European sheep. They did not want to raise alpacas. So they slaughtered off millions of alpacas, just like the Europeans slaughtered off millions of buffalo in North America because they felt that they knew better. Well, when the conquistadors came and slaughtered off all the animals, the herds dispersed and they began to interbreed with llamas and guanacos and vicuñas so that they were no longer purebred alpacas. And we know this through genetic testing. All of our animals are DNA matched to their parents. They are specific bloodlines that we work with for genetic improvement. And we want to bring them back to pre-Spanish conquest quality. If you go back millions of years, there were actually camelid type animals that lived here in Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska. But when the Ice Age came, the herd split. And some of the animals went up north and over the land bridge into Asia. And those camelid type animals became and developed into the 1 and 2 hump camels, the Bactrian and the dromedary. Part of the herd went south to get away from the snow and the ice into South America, and they became the wild vicuña and guanaco. The vicuña was further domesticated 7,000 to 8,000 years ago into the alpaca and llamas. And alpacas are separate than llamas. They have always been raised for their fiber. Llamas are much bigger, tougher, stronger. They have always been raised to be a beast of burden to carry goods to market. Now, in South America, they're treated as a true livestock. They are used as a source of meat. They are also used as a source of transportation. They very frequently will load up a llama and take goods to market. But it's based upon how much can the animal carry. And a llama might weigh 400 to 800 pounds, whereas an alpaca weighs 125 to 180 pounds. So I tell people that yes, llamas are used to pull carts and to carry small people and carry goods to market, but alpacas, if you take them, they might be able to carry their own water bottle. These animals have very interesting reproduction. They are induced ovulators, meaning they can breed anytime and birth anytime. The average gestation is approximately 345 days, give or take, and they can actually slow down or suspend gestation of their crias, which is called gestational diapause, during times of stress. And these animals can give birth as long as 372 days. I've read about some animals giving birth at 400 days gestation, which is 2 to 3 months beyond the optimal time. Most of the crias are born during daylight hours, between 6 in the morning and 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And that's because they have been raised in South America in the mountains where they have 300 or more nights of freezing temperatures. So the crias, which are baby alpacas, have to get up after birth, eat, and start moving with the herds so that they don't freeze to death. Size-wise, if an average mother is approximately 150 pounds, she will give birth to a cria that is 15 to 20 pounds in size. So if you think of the average 150-pound woman that you know giving birth to a 15 to 20-pound baby, most of them say no thank you. They drink milk from their mother for approximately 6 months. I find that my female crias are ready to be weaned at 6 months, give or take. My little boy crias, sorry to say, they'd stay with their mama for 2 years if you'd let them. But you have to separate them because hormonally they need to be with the boys, not the girls. The approximate lifespan of alpacas is 15 to 20 years. We have been in business for 25 years now, and we do have some alpacas that are over 20 years of age. We call those our grandmas and grandpas, and they'll just live out their lives here. The map behind me shows all of the ranches in the United States that have registered alpacas. And this map is a few years old, but you can see that there's more concentration on the East Coast, the West Coast, and then Colorado, we have quite a concentration here. The National Association used to be in Estes Park. It no longer is. It's in Lincoln, Nebraska, where they have the DNA laboratory that can test for parentage. My husband and I decided a long time ago that we would rather have less animals of higher quality rather than more animals of lesser quality. So to improve the quality, we focus on genetics. And by genetics, there's different types. There's homozygous, which mean very closely related traits. There's heterozygous, meaning very diverse traits. And we pay attention to who we're going to breed, what colors we want to have. And at one time, the great majority of our herd was white because that's what the mills wanted and that's what the highest quality of fiber was. Now, in the last 10 years or so, we're beginning to diversify and have colored alpacas because it's a little more fun. You never know what you're going to get. Because if you breed a white animal to a black animal, you can get a different color. You can get a brown animal. We've bred 2 blacks together and we've gotten a white cria. We've bred 2 white crias together and we've gotten a black cria. It's all about the lineage way back in their genetics.
So as far as color goes, some are more valuable than others, but it depends on what market. If you're looking for just an interesting animal for interacting with and having a small farm, a hobby farm, kind of these pinto alpaca with different spots and colors and grays they call them, which are a mix of colors, are very popular right now. If you're looking for more of a production fiber, something that is going to be made into a yarn or a final product, then solid colors and especially white are preferred because They can dye the white, and those are common colors. So white on a production level is the most valuable because how many brown sweaters can you have? So the natural colors are great, but eventually people want different colors to work with. They're sheared in May, so on average we get about 10 pounds of fiber, and there are different quality levels on the animal. The blanket or the prime fiber, which is over the back and around the sides of an animal, think of where a horse blanket would lay on a horse. That is the prime fiber, that's the high quality fiber. That is sheared and kept separate. And then the legs and the neck are lower quality fibers that are used for other products. They can still be made into yarns and stuff, but those are going to be not as soft as the prime fiber. The seconds and thirds are used for lower quality products like boot liners, rugs, things like that. Also, one of the things we do with the more, what would otherwise be kind of the scrap fiber is we package them together in our birdie bedding stars, where we dye that scrap fiber and put it in a kit for people to put together. You stuff this little hollow wicker star with the fiber and hang it in a tree in the spring, and the birds will make nests out of it. And so you can see where the nests are. People also use that lower quality fiber for things like tilling into their gardens, and there's all sorts of products out there that are used. So the prime is used for making apparel and high quality yarn, which is our focus here, but we try not to let anything go to waste.
Alpaca compost, we sell that. It's another revenue stream that people will use it for their gardens. It's all natural, very low chemicals, very high nutrients, and people come and buy composted alpaca poop. So there's a lot of people who like to process a fleece from right off the animal into their finished goods. And they start by using different pieces of machinery. This is called an electric carder, and it gets turned on, and it will take raw fleece that has been washed and will make it into a bat, which can be used for spinning. So that's the beginning part of processing. Once it is made into yarn, people like to use it for weaving, and this is a very simple rigid heddle loom that can make very beautiful but very simple garments or shawls. Some people like to knit and crochet, and they can make beautiful handmade scarves. Alpaca is seeing a resurgence of interest in the fashion industry. There's a lot of garments that are made out of alpaca now that you didn't see 20, 25 years ago. So fashion designers are beginning to use it as well. Here at Stargazer Ranch, we send our raw fiber to certain fiber mills to have different yarns made. And I will sell the yarn by the skein. And this is something that people who knit or weave or crochet, they come here each year to get certain quality and certain colors of alpaca yarn.
My focus, Second Run Ranch, for products is quality products that are made in the United States. I talked earlier about the co-ops and stuff, and these outdoor adventure socks are a co-op product. So our fiber could be in this sock, it might not be, but it is sent into the co-op, and it's milled here in the United States, and then we get the products back. So a sock like our outdoor adventure sock here is a really good active outdoor sock for in the winter. Like sheep wool, it has the same properties, as in it keeps you warm even when wet. It's very moisture wicking. It's just a great all-around sock for winter time. We sell other products, hats and gloves, wrist warmers, kind of everything. As I'm growing my small business here, I keep trying to expand. Our most popular item is probably the outdoor adventure sock. It's kind of the flagship item from Choice Alpacas, the co-op I work with. Another really popular one is our alpaca watching socks, and these are a little bit thinner. They're great around the house sock, just for keeping your feet warm inside or for use all year long. So this is another really popular product.
I'd like to thank you all for visiting, asking good questions, and sharing the alpaca's personalities with me. If you have questions, you can write to me at info@alpaca.net. You can also go to our YouTube site, which is Stargazer Ranch, and watch alpacas 24/7, seeing what alpacas are doing all day, every day. Thank you for visiting.